this video, I'm going to talk about how I train a gaited horse to have a nice canter. Now, this isn't a comprehensive video because I don't have too many examples already filmed, and it's kind of the winter time, so I won't be filming any now. I hope to be able to do a more comprehensive video for you this summer, but here's what I got. Alright, this gelding is a very well-muscled, very good mover. So I just take him over one larger log, I walk up to the log and I ask him to canter. He went into a very nice canter, and then I let him slow down and walk, and I praise him. That's very nice. When you're doing this, very important thing is remember to keep your horse calm. If he's nervous, if he's tense, it's not a good day to work on the canter. Alright, and the way I do it is I always ask for the canter from the walk or the halt. So I'm going to ask again, see how he's kind of pacing, and then he got into a nice canter. I think I was trying to slow him down here. This is from a few years ago when I was still working on my technique. He was kind of speeding up here. I want to slow him down before I actually make him go faster, but through the tall grass, he actually picked up a very, very nice canter. Now, this horse is exceptionally skilled at cantering, and we'll look at it again in a little bit, but let's see some other horses that aren't as skilled. Like I said, you want to have your horse very calm when you do this. If your horse is nervous or tense, get him relaxed before you do this. You should only do this a few times each day until your horse gets it, because it's very easy to frustrate them. So I've got poles set up 10 to 12 feet apart. This first time I'm going to walk her across them, make sure she's comfortable. Do this. I think I've got 5 or 6 poles set up. They probably could even be a little bit farther apart than I have here. It depends on the horse, but you're looking probably 10 to 15 feet. If you have a bigger, taller horse, put them farther apart. You may have to experiment a little bit. Again, make sure your horse is comfortable walking over the poles before you do this. Again, we want to ask from the walk. So I'm going to walk the horse up to the poles, and I'm going to ask her to canter. And I'm going to ask kind of big, and I'm going to try to give her the reins and say, canter. And if she canters, I'll praise her. And if she speeds up and does that awful pacey thing, I'll slow her down to a walk and praise her. Again, we want the horse relaxed. This is one time where you'd rather have them calm and take your time. But I'll do it again. I'll make sure she's relaxed, and I'll try again. Nice slow walk. We don't want the horses rushing. If you need to walk over the poles because your horse is going fast, that's fine too. The big thing also, make sure you don't pull on the reins and bump the horse in the mouth when you ask him to go. Here I was trying to keep her nice in line with them, because a lot of the horses will try to veer around the poles. No canter there, so slow down. See how quickly I slow her down? It's only been like 30 or 40, like 30 feet past the poles. Slow them down right away if they don't canter. And again, notice how I'm just letting her walk. Saying slow down your walk, drop your head. Get nice and relaxed. All I'm looking for is 1 to 2 nice strides with a canter, or longer if they're willing to, but usually just 1 to 2, and then I want to slow down and praise and then stop for that day, and then do it again the next day. So here we go, walk up to it, ask for the canter, go, canter, 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 and slow down because she got a little rough and lost it a little bit, but some few nice strides of canter there. Very, very nice. Then you would just let her rest, you'd praise her, get off if you're done with your training session. It's a good one to end on because you can get off right away and put them away, and they really learn from doing that. This is the same mare, but the next day. So again, we want to have the horse calm, we want to get her to canter a few strides, and then we want to stop. Now, if your horse is very, very pacey, you'd like to do quite a bit of work on getting your horse to trot. So here we go. Canter there, and I'm kind of looking for her to do a little bit of that jump. So these are poles, they're just the like wooden fence posts. You can use logs, which are a little bit bigger, and those work a little bit better. The small PVC pipe will not probably work as well, so you could try raising them up. Again, so if your horse is pacey and not very balanced, this is going to be very hard for them. If their horse is up in the if their head is up in the air, it'll be very hard for them to do this well. Again, we want head down. We want your horse to be able to trot at least a little bit, and with their head down, this shows that they're probably strong enough to do this. Again, don't do this over and over again if your horse isn't getting it. If your horse is not balanced enough to do this, try something else. She's trying to go around the poles there. and which is why you saw me using the reins. She tried one canter stride, so again, we just go back to the walk. Nice big circle to get back to it. So for really pacey horses, if your horse is not gaiting yet, I would encourage you to not do this quite yet. If your horse is doing some gaiting or your horse is trotting at all, then you should be ready. Feel free to send me a video and ask if I think your horse is ready. If your horse is terrible at this, don't get too frustrated. You might need to do some backing up, or you might need to do things like that, trotting, to get your horse stronger before they'll do it well. Some horses have a very natural canter. So I'm asking for the canter of my legs, and I really needed a crop here because she's mostly ignoring my legs. So now I decided not to ask her to canter again, so you'll just see that she's gaiting a little bit. So you don't want to push them too hard, but you want to make at least a little bit of progress. It's amazing how much they'll learn if you just practice over a few days. This mare is also trotty and pacey. I don't have any great examples on video right now to show you really pacey horses, but again, the same things do apply. Walk up to the poles, ask for the canter, keep them in line with the poles. You got a couple canter strides there, see how slow that is, and then before they fall out of it, slow down. She kind of slowed down on her own, so I praised her. Again, this mare tends to be a little bit bracy, so you'll see me kind of pulling on her a little bit. She has a snaffle in her mouth, and we've been working on getting her softer, and she's making a lot of progress, but you'll still see that there. So let her stop and rest because she did a very good job. Now, the important thing is to remember that when you're doing this, you're only looking for a few strides. We're not looking for a lot of time cantering. That'll come later. What we're looking for is a very good transition from a walk into a canter. That's what we're aiming for, because if we can get those nice transitions, we can work on having a nice canter. A lot of times people push their gaited horses to gait faster and faster and eventually go into canter, and they're often very unbalanced and they rush and they're kind of falling on their forehand. We want not a collected transition, but a balanced transition with power coming from behind and the horse able to lift their shoulders and lift the base of their neck. So, walk the horse up. Try to keep the horse in line with the poles. Sometimes they'll try to go around them. Try to go for a few steps of canter. She went around the poles. No big deal. Slow her down. Remember, if your horse is going too fast or is not working, just slow them down gently and start again. There's nothing wrong with doing a do-over. Just remember not to do this over and over and over every single day. Do it 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times till your horse does a good job. Stop and then try again the next day, or the next time you get them out to ride. As for the canter, and an okay canter, but a pretty good effort from this mare. And again, you don't want to push too hard. They learn so much if you give them a chance to think about it, like overnight, or making sure you get them out the next day. I didn't ask her to canter again, just worked on her gait a little bit. Recap. Ask the horse to canter from the walk. We're looking for a nice transition from the walk to the canter. We're looking for just a few canter strides and slow down. If the horse rushes it or is doing that pace gait thing that's uncomfortable, slow down to a walk, get your horse calm, and ask again. And then simply repeat this only a few times each day, but gradually your horse will be able to have a better canter. Set up the poles. You can set them up along the wall on a slight curve. Maybe, again, 10 to 15 feet apart. This horse is bigger. He would need farther apart. Sometimes one pole or one small jump can be exactly what you need. Every horse is a little bit different. If you want to start, get some poles and try to ask for the canter. Put about 5 out, about 10 feet apart, and try there. If it doesn't seem like it's working, you can always change the distance. Remember, the biggest thing is to make sure your horse stays calm and to let them rest when they do a nice canter or a nice canter transition for just a few strides.